you see, I was laughing at the idea of the humour in it just came from the idea of the incongruence of what's being said and what you actually see.
Does that happen in Nigeria?
It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. That's why it's a universal story, because I just thought, you know, friendship, we all want friendship, we all want to be admired, nobody wants to be humiliated, nobody wants to be oppressed, nobody wants to be in a bad marriage, nobody, you know, walks down the aisle and say, oh, I'm going to say I do because I really want to suffer. No, you don't do that. You do because you think, this is it, I'm making this commitment, it's going to be brilliant, we're going to go along this path together. And then what you sign up for is completely different.
It's such a film about people's needing to survive and achieve and have significance in a society.
Absolutely.
And, you know, if you can't find significance, you know, he's the cab driver in London, but he's been made a chief in Nigeria. So he has this big reputation in Nigeria, whether that's hereditary chieftaincy, but he couldn't get a different job other than cabbing. And yet he's trying to import very expensive lace. So he has this life which is like aspirations maybe built up for maybe a very rich family in Nigeria, but not finding that kind of context here. So where does he become a big person? He finds a church that sort of allows him to be a big man. And then you look at this woman and you think she's had an education to some extent, you know, because she's got a portfolio, but she's never been able to use it. So she says, how do I survive? I get married and then I become a... So it's just, I just see, you know, sort of, I don't know how to call it, a discussion or an exploration of how people are trying to slot themselves into different places and have some kind of significance. Even the girl that pretended to be pregnant, she goes, well, you know, I wouldn't want to be the second wife of a lying cabman in London, but it's going to at least get me, you know, a stay. So to just answer what this lady was saying, people putting themselves in all these strange situations because that's the way they think they can have.
What struck me was it seemed as if the men and the women did not actually they hated each other. It was like a love-hate relationship because I was quite surprised. The two women couldn't stand each other at first. But then they're married to this man whom it seemed they didn't really like. So it was an eye-opener that they, even though, because the second one said those things about the cab driver, blah, blah, I was like, so you're aware, you know what he's really like, and you know what you're buying into, but you're still willing to carry on to get what you want. And I thought that was quite, I was shocked that they seem to hate each other.
I wasn't thinking of hate, I just thought of, you know, that whole thing you think of, you think, what do we want? When we marry? What am I buying into? You know, when I see this person I fancy or whatever, what am I buying into? What am I really? And within that context, I wanted her to, the stay being the thing, because you're not going to want to choose it. No woman is going to want to share her partner. You just, even if it's the odd fling, you don't want to share him. He's yours for that moment in time, and you want it as that. You don't want to share him. Why would I want to share? Okay, maybe he can, you know, help me do certain things. Women, you know, you speak to the CIA guy that's had the affair. All of those women, he was going to help them get something was going to happen somewhere along the line. It's not, you don't consciously think, this is what I'm going to go and do. Because we all have pride, we all want the best from us. We all want to be, and I use the word, I put it in inverted commas, happy. We want satisfaction. We want happiness. But if you don't get it, then you think, well, actually, you can be the path to getting it. And one of the things, again, going back to what you said, I noticed again in the church, people that settled for the partners that they had was the fact that, well, I can be a missus. You know, well, I won't be the odd one out of the party. I'll be invited up to do. So it's not that you marry because you love him. It's, well, best of the bad lot that'll make do. You make lemon juice with lemons. Lemons are horrible at the best of times. You can add sugar. But, you know, you just
Was there any significance using the Eastern European woman?
Absolutely.
Or
Because it was.
could you have used any other?
I could have
race,
used
or-
another Nigerian woman, but it would be a repetition of the same thing.
So what would you say her role was?
Her role was the
was
new
she
influence in
aware?
packing. The new influence in packing.
Oh, I see.
Because I saw when I went to lots of Nigerian restaurants in packing, and noticed I was being served by Eastern European women. I thought, this is fun and interesting. And then they would speak bits of Yoruba. You know, you'd say, well, I don't want this. You'd say, well, they'd say, perfect, you know, Yoruba. Well, we don't have this, but we have that. And the guys liked them, and you could see alliances forming, and you thought, okay, this is the next wave of immigration, and this is the next wave of where the kids are going to come from. So,
Did you say that the Eastern European answered you in perfect Yoruba?
well, they were answering me in terms of the food. They
Yes.
asked, the accents were perfect.
Okay.
Because, you know, they wanted to do well. They wanted to, you know, get on. So if the better you worked, the more people would come in. And if if you can answer perfectly your best, it's a spectacle in itself. You come back because you bring your friends in. Oh, look at what they do in the shop, you know. So there's an element.
Okay.
One small thing that
Yes.
I got a question.
Yeah.
I got 3 questions. First one is, if you were commissioned, could you actually make a movie of that kind of idea, that script? And the second question is, how much work have you got since making that 6 years ago TV work? And thirdly, what was your phone?
I don't remember all of
Thirdly
these
is,
questions.
what are you doing next?
Okay. I don't think there's a lot in this to make a feature. Do you see what I mean? There's not a lot in it to make a feature. If you gave me 10 million, I can sit there and sort of pretend I'm going to develop it. It will be in development hell for about 6 years. And I'll take the 10 million and say, oh yes, I'm still working on it, I'm still pulling out ideas. But I don't think there's enough in this to do it. What you have to have bigger stories with bigger people.
Throwing a couple of car chases.
But you don't, because it's such a dramatic.
Have you seen Four Weddings and a Funeral?
Well, the stories are quite big. They're quite epic stories if you think about it. It's about the romantic love and how you can't get there. You're looking for perfection. It's not there. And you've got about 6 or 8 characters moving that movie along. So it's a massive movie, and then you bring an American outsider in to make it even bigger. So there's a lot in that. That story is quite a tight, brilliant story if you think about it. It's fantastic.
It can be done with this, it can be. With a bit of imagination.
I'm not prepared to do it. I'm sure I have enough behind it.
You've got think tanks.
Yeah, there's lots of other stories.
What about the second question?
Yes. It led to lots of work. It's led to things like, doing lots of script work, script editing, writing. And I was commissioned by this lovely Norwegian producer to do this road trip in Africa, which I found very difficult, but it was fun to do. And another thing is that I got lots of East Ender offers and lots of casualty offers. So those things are nice, but what you realise when you start writing this sort of thing is that I'm not a jobbing writer, I'm not a very good jobbing writer. I like original stories, I like massive stories, and I like particular stories. So, it'd be nice to write other people's words for them and just get a job, but no, that's not me, I'm not that sort of writer. So I do a lot of teaching and a lot of editing on the basis of this, and a lot of talks and a lot of lectures.
Teaching on storytelling?
Yeah, storytelling, storytelling, making the perfect short, making the perfect feature, making those stories alive and original characters, which we don't see, as you know. We see lots of generic things, so you see something. Yeah, I've seen him 1,000 times. What's new about this person? And the future work, from it as well, I got to do the talent campus at Berlin, which I was just really wowed about. Yeah, I know. Look at his face, he's like, yeah. I did Berlin talent campus, and on the basis of that, a film called The Land has been finished actually, and should be, funded fairly soon, because I've had lots of people go, ooh, we got funding from Nigeria, which was another thing, which I never thought would happen, that Nigerian government would actually give you money to make films. So I feel quite, that I got money from the Nigerian government to make this film. So we just need co-producers to come on board, but that will happen because I've been doing other projects. So that's come out of people watching this and thinking, oh, you do women's stories really well. Let's give you some money. So the future is web drama for me, as well as children's drama. I've been asked to do a 3-parter for BBC, which is, I've been eating a lot, so that's why I'm sitting in my aunt's class, just to get through it. I just found it such a difficult terrain. It's not difficult, it's just my mindset. I've been writing for a particular audience, and now I have to think of the children's audience, and think of World War I. And it's just been driving me, as my friend from here knows, it's been driving me mad. So whenever I get angry or with it, I just eat lots of chocolate and then I go back to it. So that's in the pipeline. Then a web drama series, because I think the future is web drama. I think cinematic films and all these sort of things, yes, they're nice, they're great, but I don't think you can make people pay £10 to go watch a film. It has to be wonderful. And unfortunately, a lot of the films that are coming out are not wonderful. And so everybody's looking for those wonderful, wonderful original stories on the web. So I think the 3-minute drama, in terms of 3 times 5 or 3 times 15, that's the place to go, because as writers we have freedom, producers we have freedom. So I'm doing that with a friend, Dipol, and my company is doing it because we pitched it to BBC. It was about a Nigerian boy who finds, with his family, they're gods. Shango, Oyam, we had 2 wives in that, and the children come from 400 BC Yoruba land, and they land in Peckham, and they have to, and they have to deal with these gods, massive gods. So we thought that'd be quite funny.
So doing a web drama, how do you make money from it? If it's online.
You don't. It's
Or
advertising.
or using it as a window.
You use it as a window and advertising. You have to make sure that your content is very good, and that's why I think people just think, oh, well, I'll just put it on the web, and I think no. The web is the people that watch the web, or the audience on the web, they're very discerning, and they have high standards. You just can't put anything on there and think, oh yes, it's a web drama. It has to be very good. So that's why we thought of that story, and then we moved it forward and thought, well, it's not a children's drama anymore, because the BBC were interested in it, and then they thought, oh no, we've done lots of supernatural stuff, we don't want to do it anymore. We liked it, and we thought, well, we have the freedom of the web, so why don't we do it and make him 18, so his problems are even bigger. So we've made these problems for this man that finds himself in this century. How is he going to cope?